Welcome to Hockey Whiz Talks podcast. In this podcast, I talk about 2026 NHL free agent signings. In this podcast, I talk about the free agent signings so far this offseason, as well as some of the trades that have gone down. Signings prior to free agency. New York Rangers signed Pavel Dorofeyev to a 7-year deal at $11 million AAV. The contract includes a no-move clause starting in the 2028-29 season with a modified no-trade clause from 2030-31 through the remainder of the contract. The Buffalo Sabres signed Alex Tuch for 8 years, $10.5 million AAV, then traded him to the Washington Capitals. The contract includes a no-move clause through 2029-2030, which becomes a modified no-trade clause for the remainder of the contract. Darren Radish was signed by the Tampa Bay Lightning to a 8-year, $8.5 million AAV contract, then traded to Toronto in a sign-in trade. The contract includes a no-move clause until the 2031-32 season, and the last 2 seasons, the contract becomes a modified no-trade clause. Buffalo Sabres re-signed Zach Benson for 7 years at $7.5 million AAV. His modified no-trade clause doesn't kick in until the 2030-31 season. LA Kings re-signed Brandt Clarke to a 5-year deal with $7.4 million AAV. The modified no-trade clause doesn't kick in until the last season of the contract. Seattle Kraken re-signed Bobby McMann to a 6-year deal at $5.75 million AAV. Contract includes a no-trade clause through the 28-29 season and has a modified no-trade clause the remainder of it. Ottawa Senators re-signed Jordan Spence for 4 years at $5 million AAV. The modified no-trade clause starts in the 2028-29 season. Edmonton Oilers re-signed Jason Dickinson for 5 years at $4.5 million AAV and Connor Murphy for 5 years at $4.1 million AAV. Both have no-move clauses for the first 2 seasons and a modified no-trade clause the last 3 seasons. Tony DeAngelo was re-signed by the New York Islanders for 2 years at $4.5 million AAV. Contract includes a modified no-trade clause. Colorado Avalanche re-signed Brett Kulak for 5 years at $4.5 million AAV. Contract includes a no-trade clause from 2026-27 through the 28-29 season and a modified no-trade clause from 2028-29 through the 2030-31 season. Nashville Predators re-signed Jack Drury for 5 years at $4.5 million AAV. Contract includes a no-trade clause in 2027-28 and a modified no-trade clause from 2028-29 onwards. San Jose Sharks re-signed Michael Kesselring for 3 years at $4.5 million AAV. Anaheim Ducks re-signed AJ Greer for 4 years at $4.25 million AAV. Contract includes a modified no-trade clause. Vegas Golden Knights re-signed Jeremy Lauzon for 6 years at $4 million AAV. Contract includes a no-trade clause for the 2026-27 season and a modified no-trade clause from 2027-28 onwards. New Jersey Devils re-signed Arseniy Gretzky for 3 years at $3.25 million AAV. Buffalo Sabres re-signed Beck Malenstein for 6 years at $2.9 million AAV. Contract includes a no-trade clause from 2026-27 and has a modified no-trade clause for the rest of the contract. Minnesota Wild re-signed Bobby Brink for 1 year, $2.75 million. Utah Mammoth re-signed Sebastian Cossa for 2 years at $2 million AAV. Jonathan Berggren is re-signed for 1 year at $2 million. Ottawa Senators re-signed Nick Cousins for 2 years at $1.5 million AAV. Toronto Maple Leafs re-signed Troy Stecher for 2 years at $1.35 million AAV. Philadelphia Flyers re-signed Carl Grundstrom for 1 year, $1 million. Boston Bruins re-signed Ivan for 1 year. Colorado Avalanche re-signed Brent Burns for 1 year. And Utah Mammoth re-signed Joshua Waugh for 1 year. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/hockeywiz777scouting. Signings on July 1st prior to 1 p.m. Chicago Blackhawks re-signed Bowen Byram for 6 years at $12.5 million AAV. The contract begins in the 27-28 season. It carries a no-move clause throughout the entire contract. New Jersey Devils re-signed Nico Hischier for 5 years at $11.7 million AAV. Contract begins in the 27-28 season. Contract has a no-move clause from 2027-28 through the entire contract, but does change to a modified no-trade clause in the last 2 seasons. Montreal Canadiens re-signed Ivan Demidov for 8 years at $9.15 million AAV. The modified no-trade clause kicks in the 2032-33 season. Vegas Golden Knights re-signed Rasmus Andersson for 7 years at $8.5 million AAV. Contract has a no-move clause from 2026-27 through the 2030-31 season and carries a modified no-trade clause the remainder of it. Philadelphia Flyers re-signed Dan Vladar for 5 years at $5.5 million AAV. Contract carries a no-move clause from 2027-28 to 2028-29 and has a modified no-trade clause onwards. Florida Panthers re-signed Eetu Luostarinen for 8 years at $5 million AAV. Contract begins in 2027-28, carries a no-move clause through the 2031-32 season and a modified no-trade clause from 2032-33 onwards. Seattle Kraken re-signed Maki Samoskevich for 3 years at $3.85 million AAV. Buffalo Sabres re-signed Owen Zellweger for 3 years at $3.1 million AAV. Ottawa Senators re-signed Sam Ersson for 2 years at $2.2 million AAV. And Florida Panthers re-signed Radko Gudas for 6 years at $1.5 million AAV. Free agent signings by team. Anaheim Ducks signed Nick Jensen for 2 years at $2.5 million AAV, Jeff Malott to 3 years at $1.85 million AAV, and Laurent Brossoit for 1 year at $1.1 million AAV. Boston Bruins signed Connor Clifton to a 2-year deal worth $2.25 million AAV, and Jiri Patera for 1 year at $850K. Buffalo Sabres signed Connor Sheary for 1 year $850K. Signed Ian Cole for 1 year at $4 million and Cole Smith to a 3-year deal at $3 million AAV. Colorado Avalanche signed Jaden Schwartz for 3 years at $3.25 million AAV and Vinny Hinostroza for 2 years at $875K AAV. Columbus Blue Jackets signed Eric Gudbranson for 1 year $1.75 million and Ryan Lomberg for 2 years at $1.3 million AAV. Dallas Stars signed Joel Kiviranta for 1 year $1 million, Jamie Benn for 1 year $850K plus $1.18 million in bonuses, Arttu Harkki for 2 years $875K AAV. Detroit Red Wings signed Victor Arvidsson for 2 years $5 million AAV. Contract includes a modified no-trade clause. Daniil Tarasov for 1 year $2 million and Jacob Bryson for 1 year $850K. Edmonton Oilers signed Ryan Shea for 5 years, $4 million AAV, Kasperi Kapanen for 1 year, $2.6 million, Frederik Andersen for 1 year, $1 million plus $1.8 million in potential bonuses, and Matthew Joseph for 1 year, $1 million. Florida Panthers signed Cole Schwindt for 2 years, $875K, Alex Petrovic for 2 years, $875K AAV, and Lars Eller for 1 year, $850K. LA Kings signed Eric Holla for 2 years at $3.5 million AAV. Contract includes a no-trade clause for the 2026-27 season and a modified no-trade clause. The Kings also signed Scott Lutton for 3 years at $3.5 million AAV, Matt Zuccarello for 1 year $1 million, Corey Perry for 1 year $1 million, and Eric Gustafson for 1 year $1 million. Minnesota Wild signed Maxim Shabanov for 1 year, $1.6 million, Zach Bogosian for 1 year, $1.25 million, Calvin Pickard for 1 year, $1 million, and Nick Foligno for 1 year, $900K. Montreal Canadiens signed Jakob Dobes for a 3-year extension worth $5.36 million AAV. The contract begins in 27-28. Nashville Predators signed Alex Kerfoot for 2 years, $3.5 million AAV. New Jersey Devils signed Nico Daws for 2 years, $1.1 million AAV, David Rittich for 1 year, $1 million, Vladislav Kolyachonok for 1 year, $850K, Riley Tufte for 1 year, $850K, and Mark McLaughlin for 1 year, $850K. The Devils also offer-sheeted Barrett Hayton of Utah for 1 year, $4.775 million. Compensation will be a second-round draft pick if Utah does not match. New York Islanders signed Matthias McKelly for 1 year, $2.25 million. Vitek Vanacek was signed for 1 year, $1 million. Matthew Kessel and Mitchell Chaffee was signed to a 1-year deal. New York Rangers signed Oliver Borkstrand for 1 year, $4.5 million, and Joe Veleno for 1 year, $1.2 million. Philadelphia Flyers signed Ty Forrester for an 8-year extension worth $7.1 million AAV. They also signed Noel Acciari for 2 years at $2.8 million AAV, and Zach Aston-Reese for 2 years, $875K AAV. Pittsburgh Penguins signed Andrei Kuzmenko for 1 year, $5 million. Trevor Van Riemsdyk for 2 years, $4 million AAV, and Declan Carley for 2 years, $1.5 million AAV. San Jose Sharks signed Jacob Trouba for 4 years, $8.25 million AAV. Contract carries a no-trade clause from 2026-27 through the 2027-28 season, and a modified no-trade clause from 28-29 onwards. Mason Marchment was signed for 5 years at $6.75 million AAV, and Eric Comrie for 2 years at $1.15 million AAV. St. Louis Blues signed Ross Johnson for 3 years, $2 million AAV. Tampa Bay Lightning signed John Carlson for 2 years, $8.5 million AAV. Ilya Mikheyev for 4 years, $3.85 million AAV. Contract carries a no-trade clause for the 2026-27 season and a modified no-trade clause onwards. Tampa also signed Jeffrey Viel for 5 years, $2.5 million AAV. Toronto Maple Leafs signed Sergei Bobrovsky for 3 years, $7 million AAV. Colton Sissons for 2 years, $4.25 million AAV. Jack Roslovic for 2 years, $4 million AAV. Teddy Bluger for 2 years, $2.5 million AAV. And Brandon Duhaime for 3 years, $1.85 million AAV. Utah Mammoth signed Anders Lee for 3 years, $5.4 million AAV. And Kevin Stenlund for 1 year, $2.75 million. Vancouver Canucks signed Jamie Oleksiak for 2 years at $5 million AAV, Paul Cotter for 1 year, $2.15 million, and Luke Shen for 1 year, $2.25 million. Vegas Golden Knights signed Victor Olofsson for 1 year, $1.64 million, Mark Dackholm for 2 years, $875K AAV, Ville Heinola for 1 year, $850K, and Jonas Rondberg for 1 year, $850K. Washington Capitals signed Boone Jenner for 4 years, $4.75 million AAV. Alex Ovechkin for 1 year, $4.25 million AAV plus bonuses. Vincent Desharnais for 4 years, $4.25 million AAV. Justin Hull for 1 year, $900K. And Johnny Brodzinski for 1 year, $850K. Winnipeg Jets signed Mario Ferraro for 4 years, $4 million AAV, and Stuart Skinner for 2 years at $3.75 million AAV. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywiz777. Here are some trades that went down during the free agency period. Boston Bruins acquired Will Borgen from the New York Rangers for a 2027 second round pick and a conditional 2028 third round pick. Detroit Red Wings acquire Keegan Kolazar from the Vegas Golden Knights for a 2027 seventh round pick and a 2029 third round pick. Edmonton Oilers acquire Devin Levi and a 2028 seventh round pick from the Buffalo Sabres for a 2028 third round pick. Minnesota Wild acquire Blake Coleman at 50% retained and Oli Mata from the Calgary Flames for Jake Middleton, a 2029 second round pick, a 2027 third round pick, and a 2028 fourth round pick. Nashville Predators acquired Maverick Bourque and Ilya Lyubushkin from the Dallas Stars for a 2027 second round pick and a 2028 third round pick from Vegas. New York Rangers acquired Jonas Korpisalo from the Boston Bruins for Kalle Vasaninen and a 2028 fourth round pick. The New York Rangers also acquired Marcus Pettersson from the Vancouver Canucks for a conditional 2030 first round pick. Pittsburgh Penguins acquired Caden Korczak from the Vegas Golden Knights for Parker Witherspoon at 50% retained. Pittsburgh Penguins also acquired Nick Robertson from the Toronto Maple Leafs for a 2028 fourth round pick. Utah Mammoth acquired Vincent Trocheck from the New York Rangers for Sean Durzi, Paul Boudin, and a 2027 third round pick. San Jose Sharks acquired Darnell Nurse from the Edmonton Oilers for Shakir Muhammadulin and Zach Sharp. Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Nick Paul from the Tampa Bay Lightning for Dennis Hildeby, a 2028 third-round pick and a 2027 fourth-round pick. Best remaining free agents: centers Adam Henrique, Kevin Hayes, Tyson Jost, Oscar Sundqvist, David Kampf, Rodrigo Abel, Luke Cunnin, and Luke Glendening. Best remaining wingers available: Patrick Kane, Anthony Mantha, Claude Giroux, Vladimir Tarasenko, Eli Tolvanen, Michael Bunting, Evander Kane, Jonathan Drouin, Patrick Laine, Pavel Regenda, David Perron, Philip Kurashev, Marcus Johansson, JVR, Kali Yarncroc, Riley Smith, Brandon Saad, Gustav Nyquist, and Danton Heinen. Defensemen: John Klingberg, Logan Stanley, Nick Blankenberg, Matt Grzelcyk, Andrew Peeke, Carson Soucy, Ben Hutton, and Jeff Petrie. Goalies: James Reimer, Connor Ingram, Cam Talbot, Peter Mrazek. Listen to Hockey West Talks podcast on Podbean and Spotify. In my next podcast, I'll be doing free agency evaluations.